I exposed my boyfriend for keeping explicit photos of his ex-girlfriend, even telling his ex about it, and now he's furious. I feel angry and betrayed. Was it wrong for me to feel so hurt? This is my first real relationship, and it's kind of that awkward stage where we're basically together but don't have any labels. The distance doesn't help. He and I go to different unis. There are some big issues too. He's lied to me and even used dating apps behind my back after we said we were exclusive. I'll admit, I've always struggled with insecurity, but I try hard not to let it affect my everyday life. Still, seeing pictures of his ex absolutely crushes me. It all started because he kept bringing her up. They've been together 3 years, so maybe not surprising, but it felt weird. Even more so when I figured out her name from his stories and found her Instagram. This girl looks like she could be a Victoria's Secret model. I'm not exaggerating. She's ridiculously beautiful. Don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm ugly, but I'm just not in her league. She's a 10 out of 10, no question. He even admitted his friends used to call him the one with the hot girl. I hate that term, but honestly, they weren't wrong. If she's a 10, I'm a 6 on a good day. Maybe a 7 if I'm lucky. It's a tough thing to swallow. I try to ignore it, and he says he's completely done with her. But then I find out he still has loads of photos of her, even explicit ones. They broke up at least a year ago, maybe 2. Yet all the photos are still on his phone. I've seen some of them, and yeah, it really made me feel worthless. Why is he holding on to them? Does this mean I'm crazy for being so upset? Are my insecurities getting the better of me? Is this normal? I kind of get keeping a group photo or something for memories, but explicit photos? If he doesn't care about her anymore, why keep them? I know he really does care for me in other ways. He's funny, loving, and I actually feel comfortable around him, more than most people. Like, instead of going home one night, he stayed with me, took me to the shop, and made his family recipes so I'd actually eat. He comforts me when I cry about personal stuff from my past. He listens, gets excited to see me, and that stuff matters. So maybe my doubts are just in my head. But if he really cared, he wouldn't be doing these things, right? He also keeps delaying putting a label on our relationship. It's been months since February, and he says we should wait till December. That bugs me too. It's tough to overlook all the other stuff. The lying about dating apps, how the minute we split, he was with someone else less than a week later. Maybe technically not cheating, but it still stings, especially since he always said he loved me and never would move on like that. It made me doubt if his words ever meant anything. If he'd been honest from the start, maybe I'd just be hurt, but I could get over it. But the words made it so much worse. I admit, I have real feelings for him, and honestly, I'm a bit naive when it comes to relationships. Then there's his ex. She's beautiful, like, not even fair level stunning. Not just a 10-10, but probably even above that. She had the post-breakup glow-up, like a model from Eastern Europe or something. I'm not worried about them getting back together, not at all. He told me it was a toxic relationship and she's also moved on. I stalked a bit, saw she has a new boyfriend, but I keep thinking, if I was enough for him, he wouldn't keep her explicit photos, right? Or make such a big deal about how deleting them is a hassle. There's other red flags in hindsight, too. Once he even offered me one of her shirts to wear. He told me he loved me before we ever met in person, and at random times, especially when he thought things were ending. I think he said it to keep me from leaving, since the idea of being loved was so foreign to me. I even met him on Hinge, lol, caught him twice on dating apps. First he swore it was just a self-esteem thing, promised to delete them, but then he was still there a week later. He would talk about other girls just to make me jealous, or waste my time, asking me to stay up for calls, then ghosting me, or keeping me awake really late when he knew I had a busy day after. I finally asked if he could at least message me if he can't call, so I could just go to bed instead of waiting up like a little kid. And then there's this weird thing where he kind of fetishizes my race and sexuality. At first, I thought it was a joke, but he brought it up so much it made me uncomfortable. I told him how weird it was, like I'm not just the mixed bisexual girl, I'm a whole person. Update 1. He claims he just hasn't gotten around to deleting the photos, but told me he already deleted everything off Snapchat. He says he has so many photos in his camera roll he doesn't even see hers, but honestly, he should have deleted them, not just for me, but for her too. Especially since he already deleted them on Snap, why keep the others? It's just weird to have explicit photos of an ex you haven't spoken to for almost 2 years, especially when you're dating someone else. pretty sure her boyfriend wouldn't like it, and I definitely hate it. So, I'm kicking him out and ending things for good this morning. He tried to guilt me, saying I'm all he has, but I'm sticking to it. It's hard because he was my first for a lot of things, and I usually end up taking him back when he upsets me, telling myself I'm just being dramatic. But I know I don't feel respected, and when everyone around me keeps validating my feelings, it's clear I need to get rid of him. I also agree that I should work on my self-esteem. I really have been improving. I can leave the house now, go on dates, don't obsess over superficial stuff as much. I grew up as a mixed kid in an almost all-white area and always felt out of place. Wishing I looked more like the beauty standard. Looser curls, lighter skin, blue or green eyes. It's so dumb in hindsight. These days I wear my natural hair out, don't try to hide my face, and I can legitimately say I know I'm not ugly. That's major progress from when I was younger. I'm actually proud and grateful for my mixed heritage. Thank you for all your kind words. Update 2. So, embarrassing, but I wanted him back, even after everything. I have issues, I get it, but this time, he didn't want me. That's it. People in the comments pointed out how, if someone's on dating apps while supposedly committed, it means they're not really committed at all. Some cheaters can make you feel so special in person, and you'd have no idea. It's manipulation. They do the same with other people behind your back. Keeping nudes of an ex is flat out wrong, especially when you've broken up, and for sure when you have a new partner. I'd be creeped out if any of my exes had explicit photos of me sitting on their phone. I don't even think he's over his ex. If he was, he wouldn't still have her pictures. I did ask him to delete them when I found out, and he did get rid of some, but said he'd finish the rest later because there's so many. He also said he's waiting for a new phone, which is a weird excuse, given in 2023 everything just goes straight to the cloud anyway. After thinking it over, I ended things and blocked him everywhere. Once I had some distance, I realized how gross he really was. Update 3. Am I the asshole for telling my ex's ex that even though they broke up 2 years ago, he still has all her explicit photos from when she was 17 to 20? He's 22 now, so yeah, I definitely realized I have attachment issues, lol. I ended it with him, but he kept asking to get back together, until he also decided it should end. I didn't want things to end because I loved him and had such low self-worth, thinking no one else would. But looking back, he never really loved me. He just liked to talk and only ever said, "I love you," when things were ending or if I said it first. He's the type to tell you whatever you want to hear, just so you'll stay. As time passed, my feelings faded. I do still care, but nowhere near as much as I used to. And it occurred to me how truly messed up it is. He still had explicit photos of his ex taken from when she was 17 to 20, and now he's 22. That's literally illegal. I'm not calling him a pedophile, but that's legally child porn. I told him over and over how wrong it was to keep them. His excuses were always the same: can't be bothered. I'll sort it when I get a new phone, as if iCloud isn't a thing. He only ever agreed with me to shut me up. I suspected he'd never actually delete them, and sure enough he didn't. When we broke up another time, I even asked him to delete anything he had of me. He swore he would, but later I found out he hadn't done that either. It's just a thing with him. So I messaged his ex and told her he still had all her explicit photos. Part of me felt bad. I do still care about him. And I knew after this he'd never speak to me again. But if it were me, I'd want someone to tell me. I also asked a bunch of girls what they'd do, and everyone said, "Tell her, obviously." So I did. Turns out, she'd specifically asked him to delete her pics when they broke up, and he lied saying he had. She thanked me for telling her. She called him up and demanded a screen recording of him deleting everything, or she'd tell his mom what he was up to. He finally did. The disgusting thing, he has 2 younger sisters and always talks about how scared he is about how men will treat them when they're older. He's literally the type of guy he's afraid of. He was furious at me, accused me of acting out of spite, played the victim, and said I'd kicked him when he was at his lowest. Like he's the one who's been violated. Wow. But actions have consequences. I still think he probably thinks about his ex. He kept her photos, tried to give me her shirt, made one of her pictures the cover of his playlist until I said it was weird. I even had to ask him to stop mentioning her. Sure, they were together 3 years, but it's been 2 years since, and she's moved on. Why couldn't he? Looking back, I know I did the right thing. Sometimes I feel bad, but I know he's not the victim. This whole thing opened my eyes to what kind of person he is. He's kind of pervy, honestly, collecting explicit pictures of girls like Pokemon cards. I definitely need higher standards for myself. So now I'm going on a date soon. Met this guy at a music festival last summer. Nothing happened, only saw him once because he was in the US for a placement year, and I was stuck in this mess with picture hoarder guy. But now he's back in the UK for Christmas. He's so cute, wholesome, and funny. He actually approached me, even though I feel like I'm out of his league. He's sweet, doesn't ask for photos, doesn't push for sex. He wants to build things slowly, which makes me happy because I want the same thing. We're going to see Christmas lights, grab matcha lattes, eat, and maybe I'll invite him over after for movies. He's so optimistic, caring, has sunflower energy. He doesn't drink or smoke, and since I'm sober now, that means so much. It's just totally different. Sorry, this was long. I needed to get it all out. This story ends right here. This story is a clear example of how insecurity and poor boundaries can create toxic dynamics. No one deserves a partner who can't let go of the past or respect your feelings. Sometimes it takes a harsh experience to really figure out what you want and what you deserve in a relationship. I've got a question for you. Would you have told your ex's ex in this situation or handled things differently? Let me know in the comments.